look forward to, the elections in Britain on Thursday, is not really a fight between whether the Conservatives win or the Labour Party wins. It's a fight between whether Britain remains a part of the European Union or exits the European Union. In my opinion, in 1991, under the Maastricht Treaty, Britain had opted out of the euro. Thus, it did not participate in being a part of the single currency. And that itself was a point when Britain had, in effect, left the eurozone. Now, David Cameron promises to hold a referendum in 2017 if the Conservatives come back to power. If the Labour does, they are in general believed to be more pro euro. But either way, I believe most of the parties are truly speaking Eurosceptics. What I mean to say is that even if the Labour Party wins, they may need the support of the Scottish National Party, which is pro Euro. So, this would lead to a lot of confusion, and the odds of a referendum once again on Scotland is very much on the cards. If Scotland decides in favor of independence, there would be a great amount of people who are pro Eurozone exiting Great Britain. In such an eventuality, there could be further doubts whether Britain remains a part of Eurozone or not, but either way, the uncertainty will increase even after the elections are over. So, from an economic perspective, from a financial perspective, the fight is again not so much between the Conservatives and the Labour Party, but whether Britain remains a part of the Eurozone or not. Coming to last week's events, one could see that a Federal Reserve had stopped or shown a greater tendency to pause in terms of rising interest rates. This was in the backdrop of a rather poor US GDP number, which grew rather poorly in the first quarter. Now, in such a backdrop, US Fed has probably paused for a while. This is good for the emerging markets because Fed paused or showed a tendency to further extend the hiking of interest rates beyond June to maybe September. One found that the euro rose quite substantially. It went to almost 1.16 to a dollar, and as a result of which, you found that many of the eurozone stock markets correct. This may continue for some more time as uncertainties over global growth are there all over, whether it is Asia, whether it is Europe, even America seems to be now faltering. Now, this may lead to loose monetary policies on the part of the various central governments in the West. Coming to the emerging markets and the central governments, the central banks, you will find that the emerging market central banks are showing a tendency not to go for a loose monetary policy because they believe that the fall in oil prices is probably just a one-off event. And you have already seen that oil prices have started climbing up once more. Now, the question is whether this is sustainable or they may just fall once again. I believe that the oil prices and prices of other commodities could rise substantially from here. This could have the effects on global stock markets, as you can understand. Uh, the stock indices, which are heavily loaded in favor of oil stocks, oil companies, they may benefit. On the other hand, companies and countries which are very much dependent on oil and imports, they could suffer in the bargain. But either way, although the scenario looks to be rather confusing and hazy at this point of time, I would definitely hasten to add that I am foreseeing a substantial correction in global stock markets in the second half of May. 2015, and also in the first half of July 2015. So you should time your investments accordingly. I still am in the camp which believes that you need to understand when to enter or exit stock markets. You just cannot um, base your investment decisions only on ad hoc averaging of investments on the, by just dollar averaging or pound averaging or rupee averaging and just putting x divided by 12 every month. This is something can only a person who does not understand stock markets can do. If you do not understand when what is going to rise and when what is fall, then just average it, right? But that doesn't show that you have any expertise or mastery of the stock markets. You need to exercise great amount of judgment on when to enter and exit, and for which we have put together a series of algorithms which will help you determine that. So stay tuned, keep watching. I believe we are nearing a correction in the second half of May and the first quarter, first half of July, and you may time your investments accordingly and watch how the whole story unfolds. Take care and happy investing.